entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
We both are entrepreneurs.
Yep.
In Buenos Aires. But how did it all begin, Charley?
In the promised land. It's funny, isn't it? Because when we first met, we recognised that it actually sort of began at the same time. I don't know if you were in the entrepreneurial space back then, but to cut a long story short, my story getting into like the entrepreneurship is quite interesting. And you've heard this before, so this is like a broken record for you.
Well, you might have some secret things I didn't hear, and you're
That's true. That's
today.
very true. Okay, so I'll keep it brief, but I'll keep it effective. So yeah, COVID 2020, 2020 wasn't it? Yeah, 2020, crazy. Met a girl in Ibiza during COVID. Ended up dating her. Was going back and forth from Ireland to England during COVID.
Very nice.
The only place to get away from all of that, because as you know, like the UK during COVID was crap, and I was a lift engineer, manual labour. It wasn't for me. I was working 12-hour days, covered in grease and oil. It was just not for me, and I knew that there was something else for me. So I ended up moving to Mexico with a girl I'd known for about 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, crazy times. Anyway, moved to Mexico, thought this could work out really well. We were meant to go for 6 months. Bearing in mind I'd only really known that girl most of the time in Ibiza during COVID. So the whole relationship was just crazy anyway. Moved to Mexico. We lasted 3 weeks. Like our entire relationship was 3 weeks. We were meant to be there for half a year. We didn't even do 1 month.
Yeah.
She then went separate ways. I'm now in Mexico on my own, but it was just strange because I knew that there was something for me. Like I couldn't put a finger on it.
Yeah.
Didn't know what it was, but
so this is you jobless, just going there, mate. Taking a risk.
Literally, like jobless, took a risk. Didn't have much money at all. Didn't have any sort of like skill sets. I obviously went to uni, but like I didn't have much else going on, and I didn't speak Spanish. I had no friends. I had no money, but I knew there was something waiting for me in Mexico. Something. So I thought, well, I'm gonna make it happen. Something will happen here. Moved into my own place. And I thought, well, if I get money, I'm good. If I speak Spanish, I'm good. And if I get friends, I'm good. So self-taught Spanish to an extent through YouTube University, 20 minutes a day. Worked out quite well. Met friends, partied a lot. And then I had no money in my bank and I was skint. Like I was so broke. And I heard there was a lot of English guys going to a bar to watch the Anthony Joshua Usyk fight like 3 years ago. You were probably there, you know, because there was so many English people there. Do you remember it or not?
Yeah, but my memory's so bad for like the past, like.
Yeah.
But I'm sure. I mean, there's no way. For anyone wondering, it was Playa del Carmen, which is a small place.
Yeah.
So there's no way we've not crossed paths. Even if we didn't talk.
Yeah.
We would have literally been in the same place, 100% at like one time, which is so weird. I mean, like the same restaurant or bar or something.
No, 1,000,000%.
But it's just so weird to think when you think about it.
Yeah, because Playa del Carmen in Mexico is a very, very small place.
Very, yeah.
And the social circles are all intertwined.
Yeah. So and back then, there wasn't even as many people going because it was COVID and most people couldn't leave their countries.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. It's
so you're locked in. You're literally just, I say stranded, like it was a great place to be stranded. I think you and I were quite similar in the fact that that was our prime party boy saga. Yeah. And we'll get into it because I know you have a few stories.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I was in this bar with loads of English people, jobless, needed money, and I was thinking, I need a job, what am I going to do? My alternative was going back to being a chubby lift engineer, not really enjoying my life.
So you were chubby?
I was a chubby lift engineer.
Wow, okay.
100% because I was partying. My health was not that great because I didn't see sunlight for like a long time, apart from the weekends. You're waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. As you know, the UK during the winter, most of the year, to be honest, apart from maybe 3 or 4 months, is dark, it's cloudy. And then you're in a lift shaft underground the whole day. Mm-hmm. You come outside and it's dark again. And then you just rinse and repeat. It's mental. So yeah, I was a chubby lift engineer and I thought, no, I'm going to make it, something will happen. Went to the bar and a guy came up to me and we were doing shots or whatever. He was like, what's your story? What are you doing here? I told him. He's like, so what do you do for work? And I was like, well, I don't have a job. He's like, oh, so how do you afford to do it? I was like, it's not looking. He's like, how's the money situation? I was like, terrible. Like, absolutely awful. He's like, okay. Do you need a job? I was like, yes. Like, I was so happy. I was like, this moment I've been waiting for.
But I think it was good you were honest as well with the guy you just met.
Yeah, because I think maybe some people would have been like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Like, English people do that. No, I'm good. Like, we shrug off any kind of help sometimes. And then, he said, have you ever done sales? And then it was like, boom, penny drop moment, had retail experience, all that kind of stuff, did a bit of recruitment. And then, it was just like, introduced me to this weird world of selling things online on behalf of other people for 3.5 years ago now, I think it was, right?
Okay, cool. You can't leave out the Wolf of Wall Street bit though. I remember when you first told me was it not like you had to sell something, or he put you on a call?
I did leave that out.
You didn't think you're going to do well.
Yeah. So he said to me, "Come to the office, see what you think." Right, and in my head, I'm thinking, "Cool, office. Like it's going to be my only experience with an office is in England, like suits, ties." But no, this was an illegal office on the dodgy part of Playa del Carmen, hidden away from the rest of society. So the cartel do not know that we're making money from this building, because if they do, you don't have to pay cartel tax. But anyway,
you were allegedly working, in case they're listening.
I was allegedly, quote unquote working.
He paid his tax.
Exactly, I did pay my tax. Don't worry. Went there, and he was like, "Okay, cool. So just like mirror some calls. You're going to be selling Instagram packages for Instagram fitness coaches to their clients." And I was like, "What the hell is that? That's nuts." So I listened to a few calls. It was only phone calls back then, and listened. And then he was like, "Okay, you're up. You're 2 calls. One of them, first one, now it was kind of handshaking moment. The Wolf of Wall Street mentality kicked in."
Yeah.
He said something like, "She's an NHS worker. She's in her 50s. Don't try and get loads of money from her, but try and get her on, see what you can do." I was like, "Okay, cool." Came out of the office probably 45 minutes later. He's like, "How did it go?" And this was cool because it was everyone in the office was looking like, "Oh, new guy on the job, this chubby ex-lift engineer, what's he going to do?" I was like, "Well, check your phone, because the payment goes through to his laptop or phone." Pulls out his phone, cha-ching, £1,800 closed, and it wasn't meant to be anything. He was like, "How did you do that? There's another one, do you want it?" I was like, "Yeah." So I went back into the room, living off pure dopamine that I've just done this, closed the next one on £200 a month. And then I was like, "Wow, that was great." He was like, "Yeah, so you get 5% of that." I was like, "Wow, I've just made £160 or something, £80. I was like, "That is insane," because I know how much the cocktails cost.
Yeah.
And I know I have now got the weekend to spend with that girl I met at my apartment, and she's really attractive. So I was like, I got money to buy the cocktails, and I got time to spend with a woman and with the girls. Like, everything's great. This is all I need. I don't care about anything else. And then, long story short, just that led me to indirectly to where I am right now.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's a good story. I think similar to me, like I kind of fell in to what I was doing.
Yeah.
My story is so long and
convoluted. I know you've got the brief version.
I'm gonna go into it, but I could talk so long and bore everyone about my story. But similar, went to university.
Yep.
I'm originally.
What did you study?
What did I study, or where?
What did you study at university?
Man, so I studied something called quantity surveying.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Well, you'd know it, obviously, coming from lift engineering. But studied that. It's basically commercial. They don't have them in the US. It's like a contract manager or cost manager, they call it. It's like 2 roles in one. But anyway, you basically fight over money and look after contracts that have been agreed on construction projects specifically, kind of like an accountant.
Yep.
But anyway, I studied that just because I wanted to escape. I wanted to get away from Scotland. I wanted to get away from home. Maybe not Scotland that period, but I wanted to get away from home, and I wanted to be sort of free.
Why did you want to get away from home in particular, or Scotland?
Well, Scotland, because I felt small mindset, mentality. I've always had that sort of internal feeling of maybe being a bit different, bit of an outsider. So there was that pull. My house thing was my parents are quite controlling, so I wanted the freedom to do what I wanted to do, just go where I want to be, all that kind of stuff, okay? So the original one was going for university, and I was going to be doing dentistry, of all things. That's all the stuff I'd taken in school was leading up to doing dentistry, so very science-based stuff. But then I had like a aptitude test you have to do. Everyone that wants to do medicine, veterinary science, or dentistry has to do this test. And I thought it was a personality test, so I'm not going to study for it.
Okay.
The truth is, you need to study for it. Although it is part of how your brain thinks, you should practice, you should study. And your whole right to get an interview for one of these subjects relies on you passing this test. So I was 1 point off what you needed for an interview with any university. So I had the marks at school, but I just didn't have the stupid test that took like 15 minutes and I should have just studied for.
Right.
So I couldn't have an interview. So my thing was, well, you could wait 1 year, that's what they said, and you just redo this test, and then you have interviews. I was impatient, I wanted away, and I don't think schools support you very well either, or didn't back then anyway.
Sure.
So I was like, you know what, sack that, I'm just doing something else. Called up on I can't remember what they call it. It's like clearing or something. Where you
clearing.
call up the
Going through
universities.
University, yeah.
Yeah, you call them up and then just whatever's left over, you can take. So back then I wanted to get into property development.
Mm-hmm.
That was like my other thing. So I went to do something called building surveying, where you can look at the status of building things. But when I started that course, they basically said, move to quantity surveying, you get 10K more starting salary. And big thing for me, you have the opportunity to travel.
Perfect.
Turned out to be bullshit, but that's what I was sold.
They sold you the dream.
That's what I was sold. So I switched, partied the first year like mad, and then just kind of passed through the next couple of years of university, hoping it would end.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I would get money at the end would then make me happy, make me feel fulfilled. Started work, went down to London, worked as a quantity surveyor for 3.5 years, I think, initially.
Yeah.
Hated it from day one. I mean, I hated it at university as well. So I should never have done it. I should have just gone and cleared my mind. But I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I wanted to just get away, get money. And I thought that would make me happy. So that's what I did, okay? So I did that. And then I decided, before COVID, mine started earlier. I decided, right, I can't do this anymore. I need to quit my job.
Mm-hmm.
I need to go and travel. So bear in mind, that's taken me 3.5 years to do. I should have done it sooner, but like I was just thinking, I'll get past the graduate scheme, I'll get more money, and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
It didn't change things, and I did as long as I could do until I just could not physically take it anymore. Like I was so depressed, hated it, and I was like, right, I'm just going to take this risk, quit. I've got money behind me from working.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go travel.
Yeah.
So I take a flight to Latin America. 1 year of traveling ahead of me. I'm sitting on this plane like, oh my God, what am I doing? I want to turn back type of thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I went through with it, and I spent almost a year traveling Latin America and a bit of Europe as well. Like you, learning Spanish. So I never thought I could learn a language. I was terrible at language in school, but I picked it up just out of necessity. And eventually came back to reality. Right, I don't know what I want to do still. Definitely don't want to do quantity surveying for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
But I know what I want. I want freedom. I want to be able to work anywhere. I want to be on my own time. That was my goals.
Sure.
And I want to be working less as well, because in the construction industry, you're working so many hours basically. So I came back, didn't know what I wanted to do, but like, okay, let me just go back to quantity surveying for a year or something, get the cash flow coming back in, and on the side, I'm going to start a side hustle. So back then, what was really popping was Amazon FBA.
Uh-huh.
And it's just one of those things. It's funny being older and being in this so long that you always see the
new trend.
Dropshipping is dead.
Right.
SMMA is dead. Affiliate marketing is dead. They always have their cycles to pitch the new thing. And I feel right now sales is that thing.
It's the new thing.
It's the thing,
everyone talks about.
Everyone I know that marketing agencies is moving into sales.
Yeah, I hate it.
But we can get to that later.
I hate it so much.
But you win by staying in the thing. And that's kind of what I've done. So I did Amazon FBA. The brand I made didn't work. It wasn't right for Amazon. In hindsight, being in this world, I now know that. But I didn't do a course or anything. I just tried to teach myself everything from YouTube, as you were mentioning earlier. But what that did is, although it failed, and by the way, I'd left London and moved to Spain to do this brand, so like I had costs and it was failing. What it did though is it taught me that, hey, I actually like this marketing part. Like this is something, the psychology, the trying to get the wins, the dopamine of selling stuff. Although my brand's not worked, I like that. And I got burnt by losing a lot of money on stock. So I was like, well, I don't want to have that pain anymore. Let me just go into doing marketing for other people. So that's what I did. I basically went back to London, managed to blag myself a role in a small agency.
Nice.
But I started from the bottom. Like I started on 19K a year or something. And this was at like age 26 or 27.
Yeah.
And bear in mind, I'd been a professional quantity surveyor before that. Like I was making good money.
That was a complete backstep.
I was making good money before, and I basically was getting nothing living back in London. So I had to move into like the cheapest shared house again. I was having to like look at what I was spending on food. I remember that, like just having to actually see, well, what does everything cost?
Budget everything.
Yeah, here's the peanut butter. Well, this peanut butter is cheaper. I'll buy that one. This is my total for the bill for the day. Like it was mad. Like even small things like that. You don't want to be looking at your shopping. But you just want to go in the supermarket and buy what you want.
Sure.
But it's crazy. That's how I was living. Scrimping. And then after that period of like a year, I've been working for this marketing agency, learning the business model, learning the skills. On the side, trying to build my agency, but I did it wrong. I was putting all the time into building the website. You know, I should have been on the phone, calling people, calling, trying to get the clients first.
Tried to be a perfectionist and like.
Yeah, but I had the imposter syndrome. I wanted to build the I don't know, like the proof first, and then go and get clients.
Okay.
Shot myself in the foot though, because what happened? COVID.
Yeah.
So I'd done all this work. The niche I'd picked was killed by COVID. So I was like, man, I've done everything. I've worked so hard this year. I've been living like a poor person.
Yeah. Scrimping.
Yeah,
Through
scrimping.
London.
Right, I'm done.
Yeah.
So I did the first lockdown in London, and then I got an opportunity actually on a podcast for doing Facebook ads for agency as a freelancer, okay? And in this period, I'd done Facebook ads for my previous brand, but I wasn't really doing them in the current agency I was working in. It was more like general marketing, Google Ads, podcast, that kind of stuff. But anyway, I took that opportunity, was in a course at the time, so I had the right info to say the right things to the interviewers on it, and managed to get that gig. And then from there, that was it. That was me free. Went to Mexico where you were. In that period, I wasn't really working that much still. I went more into the party side because I just killed myself the year before.
Yeah.
But like I was doing what I needed to be doing. I was learning the skills, and I've done that ever since. However, that then made me, you know, see lots of businesses, help them grow, and see the kind of people that were running brands. Back then, like, anyone could start an e-com brand. It was very easy. Everything was popping with COVID. And I just kept having that voice in my head saying, like, hey, like, they're no better than you. Hang on, look at this brand, look at, like, them. You're helping them. Bro, now you've got skills. You can do this. So that then brought me back into wanting to do e-com, and I had tons of failed brands, you know, tried things, didn't work, tried drop shipping, whatever, but it just kept always bringing me back to that.
All the signs.
Yeah, everyone just wanted me to. I mean, that's, for me, that's the thing, like, and it's how I was saying earlier, you want to just stick in the thing you're doing. You've done sales, you've not jumped out of it. I think that's a blessing. I did jump into many things, but now it's like, okay, everything feels nice for like a week, but it keeps coming back to e-com. So then I started a brand maybe 2 years ago, and that one's done a lot better. It's grown, and and I've still got that. So.
Seems really cool though. Like, I'm excited for that to grow. That's really sick.
So it's expanding, but the cash flow comes from marketing, freelance marketing.
But what your long-term play is the equity.
Yeah,
that's going to be the game changer, and that will pay you back in dividends. But yeah, it's funny what you're saying about like sales now being the thing. Because 100%. It's so true. Like, every time I go onto Instagram, and it might be my algorithm, it might just be the things I'm seeing, it's like there's always a time and there's always a shift for one kind of business model to be like the popular thing to do, or like the thing at the time. It used to always be, like you said, drop shipping, SMMA, it was Amazon FBA. Now TikTok Shop was really recently, that's sort of died off now.
TikTok Shop,
but the one, and I was talking to someone about this the other day, it's very, very easy to have shiny toy syndrome, where you might be doing one thing really well. Let's say it's marketing, or it's building like a really powerful e-com brand, or it's sales. Then you see someone else on YouTube talking about how they made 50K just this week with this. You're like, oh, I wish I could do 50K. And then you feel like you should now go and learn how to do that thing. And I go through it mentally quite a lot.
Yeah,
I do. I see it and I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. But I've also been doing this for long enough where I know that is just a hook. And the realities are, like, it's not as easy. It's all difficult, but they all work. TikTok Shop works. Remote sales works. Marketing on any kind of STEM works. It's trading, crypto, whatever you want to call it. SMMA, OnlyFans marketing, OnlyFans agency, whatever you want to do.
Tried that too.
There you go, right? They all of them work. It's just, if you can't stick at it, none of them will work for you. If you can't make one work, you won't make any of them work.
Exactly.
Because they require the same dedication, the same values, the same characteristics, determination, focus, resilience. They all need that. But yeah, before the sales thing, like, if I go back to what we were talking about, when I was the chubby lift engineer, didn't know what I was going to do whatsoever. At the same time, I was also running a chat show on YouTube.
Okay, I remember
I was telling you about that. It was called Doing Bits TV. And it was insane. Like, it was actually growing, and I was getting bigger guests on and bigger guests. And then this guest would talk to me about this person, and that would be a way for me to talk to this person. But the interesting part is they were like mini celebrities. So it was so cool. Like, I was speaking to people that I'd admired. You know what I mean? So I was speaking to DJ Beats from Corrupt FM. His name's Hugo. He's like a good friend of mine now. It's crazy. I spoke to DJ Ironic. When I was a kid, 16, used to go to under 18 discos and drink energy drinks on a school night. I used to listen to DJ Ironic. He killed it. Like, he did the Elton John remix, Hold Me Closer. And he was on Doing Bits TV. And it was just like this crazy stepping stone into... I didn't know back then, but now I can reflect on it. It was just like the power of consistency and belief and just like kind of bullshitting it until you make it.
Yeah. So do you think that's a characteristic of it? Like doing this kind of life because you just have that brain where you're wanting to hop into different things, like you're creating some YouTube channel, you've then gone off to Mexico, you've done sales. Like it seems like you've dabbled in things. Do you think that's it? Or it's like anyone can really be...
I think anyone can do it, but I've always known deep down I want to be an entrepreneur. Like I want to be my own guy. I think it comes from my parents they're both entrepreneurs. So I've always been raised to see it as like not my parents never ask another adult to do what they want to do. Yeah. Like my dad used to go to school what they call teacher, where the teacher would come and you'd have like they'd assess you.
Oh, like parents' evening?
Night, right.
Parents' night, yeah.
I went to a really posh school, a very, very nice school. My dad would turn up to my really nice school. Everyone else is stockbrokers, finance guys, corporate guys who are doing really well. He would turn up with a T-shirt on saying success means never having to wear a suit if you don't want to, or something like that. Just to like, just to get people. And I looked up to that and thinking, do you know what? That's cool. Like, that is very, very cool. And we go home, nice cars, nice house. And it was all just because my dad just made the decision. My mum and my dad made the decision that they needed to start their own business rather than work for someone else. And I think without meaning to, I think psychologically that just flicked a switch. So although I was a lift engineer working for my dad, it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I started doing Bits TV to give myself like another option. I was then selling, I had another business in COVID at the same time, selling exclusive footwear, like just basically nice sneakers, rare drops. I'd pay someone to go to a release camp, buy the shoe, send it to me. I would buy shoes from Facebook, make them look better, send them, sort of like drop shipping. Didn't really know it was drop shipping back then. So I was doing that. I was Doing Bits TV. I was editing it all. I was doing all the marketing. I was filming it, obviously talking in the podcasts, reaching out to people, pretending to be the Doing Bits marketing department or the Doing Bits TV legal team or the Doing Bits TV finance team. It was all just me and my laptop. I was pretending to be like 10 different people and we had a company. But that's the thing that got the celebrities on the show. It was sick. And then I go to bed at 2 a.m, wake up at 6 or 5 or whatever it is, and then go spend most of my time in a smelly lift shaft, not enjoying it.
Is what it is, yeah.
It was a lot, man. But it's so good.
But I also think, exactly, because I do know lots of people who have never had that kind of job where they feel like they don't want to be there. They feel like a slave. Like many people I know, they've just gone into being their own boss from day one. Like they came straight out, they did something, they started making money and they've never gone back. But I talk to other friends, and generally it's the older ones, because I just think we were from a generation where there wasn't as many opportunities as there are now. Like you could learn stuff from YouTube, but you just could not learn as much as you can now. You can literally get everything you need. In fact, marketing, I never did a course to learn marketing until much later. Right. And then I'm doing advanced stuff. But like to actually learn how to do that to make money, I got it all free on YouTube, yeah. So like that is an absolute massive asset. But I think like generations where like you are now, where you can just get all that information, you should be able to do whatever you want, and it's more common. But like back then, you had to be a certain type of person, which listening to your story is that sort of typical what they suggest. No, what was your story? Oh, I was trying to sell these shoes. I was like creating this thing. For me, that's the traditional entrepreneur story. And I remember Gary Vee would always kind of hate on people that didn't have that and say, oh, you're not an entrepreneur. But in my case, I wasn't doing that shit. But it's not because, in hindsight, like I wasn't that kind of person who is entrepreneurial or creative. It was just massive conditioning, because that just wasn't my reality. Like my parents weren't entrepreneurs, but from my mum's side, like all their family was. But they made the money to then say, well, now you go down career. That was that generation. That's what you should do. Yeah. And I mean, my dad, his family, that was just always what they were. But like for me growing up, it was like all the pressure was on career. And I myself went to a private school too in Scotland.
Yeah.
But private schools in Scotland are not that fancy. Like
Mine was, bro.
it's like a
Mine
normal
was like
school.
Hogwarts.
Like Hogwarts,
Yes,
okay.
it
It's like
was-
a boarding school type.
Yeah, it was
Level.
second oldest school in England.
Okay.
It was a lot, like, insane. Like, I'm so grateful to be able to have gone there. But when I was a kid, I was trying to rebel it all the time. I was trying to rebel against it because my dad's just not a posh
Not that
guy
way at all, no.
whatsoever. My mum is.
But it's what happens. It's like
Yeah.
the children of those people, they lose what they had and what made them who they are.
Yeah.
Because they have the benefits and they send these things.
For sure.
Not saying you're soft or anything. But
No,
like,
no, it's-
you know,
it's
you see like
completely
people
true.
that are mega rich, they have these problems.
And it was a weird school though, because like half of them were, like, I would say, old money kids, where their parents had gone to the same school and their parents, like, family, you know, deep driven into this school. The other half was so interesting because you had loads of people at my school whose parents were just like, they started a business and got rich, but they weren't like educated people. So you had like, a lot of rough kids or people that are not from that world put into the school because their parents had just like done well with business, a lot of construction businesses, etc. And it was just like a beautiful blend, I would say, of like privately educated, but the people inside were very different and varied, which in terms of like a life lesson was insane, because you're mixing with rah, 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 but then you're mixing with like, you know, the geezer who had a construction company, made a lot of money, his kid goes to the same school as you. It was like so grateful for it. But obviously when you're young, you're a little shit. And I just wanted to rebel. And like my dad's a geezer. I wanted to just be more like my dad rather than my mum and more well-spoken. I was trying to be more chavvy in a posh school.
Okay, there's
know what I mean?
exactly the same in my school. People were trying to, they're putting on the accent. It's like
I was putting
you
on
don't
the
speak.
front.
Yeah, you don't speak like that. That's not your accent.
No.
But they were trying to do a more like chavvy
I
accent.
was trying to rebel. I definitely put on an accent and like tried to rebel so much. But to your point, it all fuels into like the growth of where we are right now. Because maybe if that didn't happen, didn't go to that school, didn't have like the drive to be the entrepreneur, then I would have stayed in recruitment. I wouldn't have done the lifting. I wouldn't have tried to run like 3 businesses at once at like 24 years old. Like, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like,
So what were your biggest motivations then to do it? Because like
at 24,
yeah, was it pure money? Was it freedom? Was it because
such
you
a
want to
good-
travel?
And I was about to ask you the same question. But yeah, I think motivations at that age anyway stemmed from, I saw my dad building a business with my mum, and I was so like proud of that. But I always thought I'm going to be able to do this on my own. And when I was younger, like me and my dad didn't really get along that well. We still like butt heads now, but it's better. So I always thought to myself, it was kind of like an external thing. It should have been internal, but it was external. Like, I'm going to build a business. I'm going to be successful, and I don't need you to help me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. So I wanted to do a Bits TV to blow up. Then I wanted the trainer thing and then the sales thing. So it's always been there. Motivations now, though, are just like, I want to help everyone around me, my friends, my family. I want to provide for people and do it in a way that's on my terms.
Yeah.
You know, because I do have a problem with authority, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I think when I kind of break it down, I hate being told what to do or how to do it unless I genuinely believe the person that is telling me that is someone I respect. And usually that isn't the case. Yeah. But what about you? What's your motivations for getting into the entrepreneur world?
Yeah, well, I mean, my original motivations were the sort of realizations I had when traveling, but they remain the same. And there's been points where I've become disillusioned with those, and then you bring it back and go like, hey, yeah, I'm not really addressing those core values and what I'm doing now because I'm thinking this is my motivation, but it's something else. So like mine were really freedom. I mean, that's the core one. It was freedom. Freedom, like you were saying, you know, I don't like authority, never have. Not that I was ever like a bad kid or anything, but I just don't like being told what to do. I kind of don't respond well to it. Freedom to like go wherever I want to go and to be on my own time. And then like when you look at money, I like in later life of the journey, because you get the freedom. Like we can literally go anywhere, I can work at any time.
Cool.
I have full freedom. But then you start to forget that was the original motivation, and money became way more of a motivation for me. But it's like I'd sacrifice freedom, and it's like, hang on, like you're not actually, you know, you can't go where you want to go, or like you're working so much that you're not actually enjoying this freedom you have.
Yep.
Well, let's bring it back. That's not my real motivation. Okay, let's just go focus on freedom more. And also girls are my motivation as well, in all honesty. Like I never really cared that much about having money.
Yeah.
But the girls I wanted to get, it's like, well, you need to have
money to be able to do that.
Not in saying, I mean, we can talk about it later as well, like red pill kind of stuff.
Sure.
Not in like a red pill mindset, but like me, I basically got into throwing parties to network and meet girls.
Yeah, of course.
And I reached that point where it's like you're like networking with these people that are, doing really well, girls that are used to hanging around with people with a lot of access, a lot of resources. And it's not like they're looking for you because they're gold diggers. It's just they have a standard of living.
Yep.
Same as we all have a standard of living.
For sure.
Me living in London on the cheap, counting my food. Can't
Yep.
do that anymore. My standard of living has changed.
For
And that's
sure.
just my default. That's what I expect. Same with those girls. I can't ask them to like then come and stop having their nice lavish lifestyle and their fancy
Because then you're
things.
changing their persona. And
Yeah,
that's
they're
the thing
basically
you're
having
attracted
to downgrade
Yeah.
to go with me.
And the reason you're attracted to them is because they live this lifestyle.
100%.
So it's like now you want to change the attraction. Yeah, I get it.
So like my motivation for money isn't actually for the money. Like there's a reason behind
It's
it.
to do something with the money.
Yes.
It's a tool, right? And actually, I want to go back a little bit because when you were saying that, I think we have more in common about the motivation thing. Because definitely women, like, of course, single man, being younger and just like you, right? Single, even when, anyway, money allows you to do things that maybe you couldn't do before. And the kind of women that you're really attracted to, obviously, they live a certain lifestyle. So you want to be able to be around those kind of women and more importantly, be like a high status, high level person, which can, I would say, bring those kind of women into your life. Not chasing those kind of women, but being able to attract. And it isn't about the girls, but it's about the quality of life that comes with those kind of girls. So it's all fueled into like a whole ecosystem. The other thing is, it sounds crazy, but like I just want to be able to say, like I made it. And I don't know what that means. I genuinely don't. But like I want to be able to just turn around one day to everyone that's close to me in my life and just say I did it. The things I said I was going to do, I fucking did it. And like, Mum, Dad, I did it. I want to make you proud. I did this completely on my own. I made it happen. I went out there, created something from scratch, and now it's this amazing thing that can help so many people. And it prints fucking cash.
Exactly.
It does bits.
I feel like I have the same, but I think we have that sort of chip on our shoulder for different reasons.
Sure.
From what I see, it's more like you want to get your dad's like pride or whatever, show him that Dad, I did it as well.
Yeah, because I'm
he's
proud
a successful
of him,
man.
but I want to be able to do it as well on a bigger level, right?
Yeah.
Because he's given me an amazing life, and I want to be able to do the same with my family.
Yeah, and I think your mum and meeting your mum and her family as well were successful, and she's obviously.
It's crazy, isn't it? She's
been
built
too.
into you.
So you've got to you don't want to let that down. You want to be, I guess, like even improving it. You want to make them
100%.
proud for what they've achieved. Mine's probably the opposite. Mine was people didn't believe or like tried to stop you doing the thing. Not because they don't really believe in you as a person. It's just their conditioning was saying, do the career. That's the smart thing to do. You'll be successful in that. We know you'll be successful. Why are you like doing something else? Why are you leaving it all behind? So my chip is like, all right, I want to show you that
For sure.
I did it, and I did it.
I think as well,
massively.
it's like small town mentality to an extent, because I still have people now when I go back home, literally probably, where are we now, January, February? Yeah, so in November this year, I had someone back home say to me, so how's that little sales thing you're doing going? And I was just like,
little.
I bit my tongue. There's no point. I don't need to justify anything, but it just proves that this is ingrained. And I had someone else go, oh, so what are you doing right now? Like, very patronizing. Told them, and they were like, oh, yeah, as long as it pays the bills, I guess. I'm like, yeah, getting by, trying my best. But I always will downplay it because I think it's really, really cool to have like that humbled thing. Like I would rather everyone think I don't have anything, and then actually behind the scenes we're doing okay, rather than people assuming like.
But that's probably why they have that perception a bit too.
Yeah.
Like, because people don't know what I'm doing. They just.
Do you like that? Do you like that people don't know? The mysteriousness nature.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I think a
It's
bit.
quite
Yeah.
cool.
All my like job sort of feedback when I used to work in the corporate world was always like, Cameron's aloof. We don't know who he is. And I'm like,
Aloof
I don't
Cameron.
understand how I'm just talking to you guys. Like you're all talking to each other. Like how am I the aloof one? So yeah, there must be something in me that is that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think certain people that don't get it. I think there's people who are a bit spiteful. Or they've got their own sort of problems that they're projecting.
Yeah.
But I think there's some people who just genuinely don't understand it and they're not aware yet. They've not taken that
Sure.
red pill and opened their eyes type of thing.
Yeah, because when you don't understand something, the natural reaction is to think that it's weird because it's like it's different to what you know. So therefore, because I know everything that's great, the thing I don't know must be weird, not worth me knowing.
Yeah.
Don't need to know it. But then when you start introducing and you break down details and information of certain aspects of things to people that didn't know it, they might end up liking it, But Yeah, it's interesting now. Everyone knows what remote sales is. Like no one
Everyone,
knew what
yeah.
that was.
But that's it. Like
Yeah.
I for me, that sounds like quite a good gig, because other like e-com as an example, right? E-com takes a lot of capital.
Right.
There's risk that you're actually going to lose money. But for me, something like sales and even like marketing agencies as well, they're cash flow businesses. There's a lot of upside.
Yeah, sure.
The benefit of sales is you don't need to have other people. You can, you can get as good as you can get, Charlie, and you can make as much money as you want to make. But then the downside of sales is, well, you have to then sacrifice your time
Yes.
to do that, versus
It's always
an
an
agency.
exchange.
There's the leverage of other people. So there's benefits and negatives to all of them. And I think there's also like stages to what you're
sure.
doing. But yeah, just in terms of that, okay, let's talk about that then. Entrepreneurship, how there are all these different opportunities, these different vehicles. We get them from obviously online and meeting people around the world.
Networking.
Do you think there's like a lack of that perception and awareness in the UK?
Yes, definitely in the UK, because it's just, I think culturally we are a race of people where we're not the warmest.
Yeah.
So to network with people seems a bit weird. Like, it's just, we keep ourselves to ourselves. Our friends are our friends. Our people are our people. And that guy over there, like, I'll nod at him here and there, but we don't say hello. I could be living next to the same neighbour for 20 years. I still don't know his name.
Yeah. So that's very interesting. That it's actually different in Scotland.
No way.
Yeah.
How so?
Because Scotland, especially where I'm from, Glasgow, it is warm. It's friendly. I think it's more like tribal.
Okay.
And we are more that way. We have other problems, and I think which comes from class.
Okay.
Where like you don't want to be better than you are, so you actually bring each other down. But like in Scotland, they're very like friendly, and they're very you look after your brother. If there's a fight, for example, you meet a random person from Scotland, and it's like 5 against 2.
No way.
You're going to back them up because it's just something.
Because you're Scottish.
Something in like our blood, yeah.
That's really cool. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I don't think English people are like that.
Yeah, you're
I think
more
we end up beating
separate.
each other up just because we're English. We actually fight each other. So
Yeah, which is going to be something from
yeah, it's crazy.
history, and like those scars of history, I think last. Because if you look at Americans, they're like way more positive, and they want each other to win.
Yes.
Whereas we want to like win by bringing down
Other people.
someone else.
And mate, this is why it's so clever, and it all ties in so well. And I'm just going to bring the sales thing again because I think it's really important here. That exact same breakdown that you've just said is the same on anything, but especially in sales, because to sell to an English audience is very different.
Yeah.
Because like you just said, we don't really believe in the entrepreneur. I think we're anti-entrepreneur, to be honest with you.
100%.
We don't like to see each other win. If we see someone do well, we look at a reason as to why it shouldn't work or why it's a load of shit. Prime example, you drive a Ferrari through the streets of Kent, where I'm from. Most people would say, fuck, what a wanker. Like, what a prick. Why is he driving that car? You drive the same car within the same sort of area in somewhere in America, a popular place anyway. They'll be like, wow, that's awesome. Like, I wonder what he does for a living. How does he do that? I want to be able to do that. UK, we go, oh, what a wanker. They go, what a legend. Like, awesome. We're like, prick. Like, it's so similar.
Which is even like, you see these videos with the guys on TikTok or IG where they'll go and ask the owners of the fancy cars in the US.
Oh, they'll open up.
What do you do?
Yeah, bro, I do this, I do that.
When
blah, blah, blah.
when do you ever see anyone just going and asking wealthy people in the UK? It's just
A, you wouldn't get it, and B, if you did get it, the guy whose car it was would be like, what the fuck do you want, mate? Why are you asking these questions? Go away. Who the fuck are you? Like, very, very different. And that is also stems into like the way that we think socially in our family, in our friendship circles. So I think entrepreneurship as a whole and the whole idea of networking and going online and having these online businesses, for English people, it's just a bit weird, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Because they see it as scammy, they see it as like kind of quote unquote foreign or different, and therefore they don't do it. Even though they fundamentally know that their job right now isn't really giving them much and they're not happy with it, that is so much better for them to do than going into like the unknown territory of the online world and starting a business. And and this is what I'm trying to do with salespeople at the moment. It's like I want UK guys who are maybe in a construction job or some kind of manual labour job. They want more for life. I want them to bridge it, and I want to give them the space to do that. And more importantly, I want it to be like an army of young men who just are fucking great at confidence, using sales to become confident, and changing the whole rhetoric from sleazy salesman, car salesman, overweight, pinstripe suit, probably being dodgy deals, all that kind of stuff, bad rep, to this like new age of salespeople on their shit. they're emotionally intelligent, they got business intellect, they're confident, they got really good charisma, provide for the families, they're in great shape, they travel, and they do it all. Like, that is the world that I'm trying to push, and that's what I'm trying to build with salespeople.
Yeah.
So it's cool, but...
So also on that, like, why do you think you've always stuck into sales? You said there was like a motivation to jump out, just because it seemed like the best thing, or you're just the type of person that wants to get super good at something. Like, where's that come from?
I think I was in it, and then I was making money, so I was like, I'm just gonna keep making money. But until recently, probably a year ago, I just saw it as a cash grab. Sell, make some money, go to the party, do this, do that. Within the last year, I thought, hang on a minute, this is insane. Like, if you do this and you do it really well, you're not just commission checking, you're not just getting, money from commissions. You can create an entire, like, orchestra of success, like a whole ecosystem.
Yeah.
Like, there are people doing crazy amounts of things, and not just money-wise, I mean impact-wise, with sales. And at the end of the day as well, there's always going to be someone with something to sell. So if you know how to sell, you're always going to be able to make money.
I mean, that's like a huge thing. I think sales for anyone, like one of my... It's not really a regret because I didn't even know about it, but like I would have liked to have done sales when I was young, just to get you out your shell, get you like taking risks, learning how to like speak to people, negotiate with people, all these kind of things. Like I think there's so many benefits in sales. It's almost like one of those things that everyone should do when they're young. Like, what's the point in working in a clothes shop or in a cafe? Just go do some sales and like get that like personal skills, be selfish. Like the money you make, if there's like young people that listen, it's like the money you make on your like part-time summer job or like on the weekends doesn't really matter. It's like not real money. You're better off acquiring skills. So if that means getting onto sales where you're not really making much money because you're just young and starting out, who cares? You'll be building that sort of that muscle, and it's going to pay off dividends when you're older and like you've got less of a sponge brain to take on new characteristics and stuff. Like,
absolutely,
that's the time to be doing this sort of stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and it's funny because it might not all be about money, but you'll get paid for, like in social commission too, because your character will change. You'll become more confident. You'll become more assertive with your words, with your thoughts, with everything. And like, I would happily take a younger guy in the UK who's quite low confident, maybe out of shape, doesn't really have many friends, doubts himself consistently, it isn't really where he wants to be in life, and probably pretty lonely. You give me that guy, and you allow me to show him the world of sales. Not only will he make money, he'll become more confident, he'll get in better shape, he'll have better relationships, he'll be able to talk to women, he'll be able to do things that he never thought he could do. That is really what I would love to do. I want to just grab that motherfucker and change him. And just, allow him to become something or someone that he never thought he could be. Yeah. And that's what sales can do if you do it
100%. Right. And it's a big thing. It's like, you could make tons of money in crypto. Yeah. But you're too shy to even go and talk to that girl. I mean, what salesman's ever going to have that issue? He's doing it all day long. Never. Like, he's going to be going able to talk to her. Like, exactly. No problem.
And if you have a conversation with someone, you don't know where it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you look, and like we keep saying, you look at e-com, you look at dropshipping, trading, crypto, you look at any of these things, there's always something being sold. That is the common denominator. So that's the thing you need to just double down on and master. World's your oyster at that point. The world is literally 100%. Yours. Do what you want.
And even like, so let's look at ecom, because that's what I do. Like, although, I mean, I did ecom to avoid that having to speak to people type of thing. Yeah. But when you get to a certain type of business, if you're dropshipping, you're not going to have it. But like, if you get to like a proper ecom brand, you need to speak to suppliers. There's deals to be made. Like, you can save massive amounts of money or lose massive amounts of money on your actual profitability per unit by just getting a bad deal with a supplier. So like, that's sales. It's a business to business sales. You have to go and speak to those people, build rapport with them, make the idea that there's going to be a long-term relationship and 100%. Try and get the price that's going to work for you the best. There's been tons of times where it's like, maybe there's something that I can't do at my current scale, but I've been able to like persuade the people that it's going to be beneficial if you give me a break, give me this low order quantity, and in the long term it's going to work out for you. But like, you can't do that if you're not speaking to people and what is their desires, what's their things that they're looking to get, how can you make a good deal that's going to work 100% for each other.
And that's like, even this one example, like, sales happens every single day. I always say, like, sell or be sold, because it's true. Like, even in the conversation we've had alone this morning, probably I've been sold and I've made sales. Like I haven't actually, but it's the same kind of thing. Like a sales been made. We've got this room and we've got this moment because we've been sold it.
Yeah.
And we're now selling like whatever this is into helping other people. Like every single day, sales happen. We're all in sales. We just don't know it.
We're all in sales and we're all in marketing.
Yes, same
Like,
thing really.
well, marketing I think is the awareness. Sales is the then
Yeah. Execution.
the conversion. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like, everything to do, like
It's so interesting.
how you dress is your marketing.
Yes.
How you speak, where you're living, like
100%.
what you're posting online and stuff. And there's so many people just don't get it. Like,
No.
You're big into personal branding
Huge.
now. And it's something that I as well, I've been into because I've seen the benefit. Like even just like meeting people as friends or dating, just having that that like good Instagram, if we just take that as an example, having that looking good and actually understanding the marketing behind it, not just taking fancy pictures where you're all alone in front of like a car or something to show wealth. That's not understanding the full like trigger of like what people are looking for in someone they want to get to know. It's like understanding that marketing angle. It means you can really present yourself and get better opportunities than someone who is the same person or even like a better person. They just don't have that like backing them up type of thing. Because I imagine you, if like the content you've got, if you try to get a sales role versus someone who is just a nobody and has to work with just their mouth, like to persuade I don't know how sales works, is it like recruiters or something?
No, it's true. It's true. Like if you have a really good brand, that's a business card. My Instagram now is just it is a business card. So you go onto my Instagram or you go on my Instagram or my YouTube channel, like I look like I'm very well versed. I travel. I've got a very wealthy lifestyle, etc. And yeah, sure, like there's an element of truth to it, but I'm not a millionaire. But some people might look at it and go, "Wow, this guy must be caking it." I'm not.
But it's like all the little things. Just like if I look at your Instagram, like if I analyze it as a marketer, it's very very good. Like someone on the face of it could look and be like, "Oh, but it's you're doing like photo dumps. It's not that like pretty or whatever." That's the wrong mindset. Like if you understand how people think and how to analyze, what I do when I look at yours is like, okay. There's the elements of the wealth being shown off. The guy's looking good. He's got good style. There's women that are pretty,
Always helps.
Okay. But then it's also like, well, he's with his mum and they have a very good relationship. Okay, so he's a very honest guy. He's like very loving. He's not got like trauma and stuff. He's traveling. He's like freedom. It's like fun. There's adventure. There's all these different things that you can read into in the photos, which I just think is so, so valuable. And people don't put any time into it. They don't understand it. And it's like something you should do. No,
it's an opportunity course. And I think especially for younger men trying to get into the online world, because it's like you don't have job interviews and like Indeed and all this. You have an opportunity and you have a moment to take that opportunity. And if you have a great social presence, at the end of the day, look, it is pretty materialistic. Let's be real.
100%. Yeah. But use it. Use it as a tool.
Exactly.
Don't consume it.
You can either complain and say, I'm not doing that, and then miss out. And other people who are far less talented than you get better and they get further ahead dramatically. Or you can say, well, look, these are the rules of the game. This is the system. I'm going to use it rather than not being used by it. And that's really like a very important thing to do. It's perception value is everything.
It's one thing I used to struggle with a lot. I mean, I still do somewhat. But like, so for example, I went to go for a job and at the same time, my friend was going for a job, right? I met him, he was doing a master's when I was in Spain.
Nice.
And basically, he paid some guy in Africa to do a CV. So, like, to make it look nice and, like, I don't know, spice it up a little bit.
Yeah.
But when we looked at this, and you looked at, like, what the truth was, me knowing this guy, and what this guy had written, it was like, okay, how can I compete with being, like, strict by the book, like, honest with the exact detail? Like, I've never done, I don't know. I've never done email. But it's like, well, he did email one day, and that's now like, yep, I'm proficient, I'm an expert in email, like whatever. It's like, okay, that's how you have to be to compete.
Yeah.
Plus, these people, it was at that time, I don't know what it's like now, but at that time in the UK, you never put a photo on a CV. That was just not a thing we did.
He did it.
Obviously, well, he was not from the UK anyway, but like that was like a standard thing in all these online CVs that they were offering. So it's like, well, yeah, that's going to help you. Like if you put a photo on your CV,
you'll remember what you
a recruiter's got this big pile of CVs and there's no people. He or she's going to see that and be like, oh, let me look at this one on the phone. That's interesting. That's different. Pattern interrupt. Yeah. Like it's just trying to think outside the box and be. I think that's a UK problem as well. It's like we're too modest. You really need to like go big yourself up.
Yeah, go and get after it. Go and grab it by the balls and go and make make it yours, because at the end of the day, if you don't, someone far less talented will, and then regret is a very painful thing.
100%.
But yeah, like you're saying as well, that's marketing, and everything is marketing. And the whole like personal branding, content creation thing, I only started doing that a year ago. Like when I was in Buenos Aires, if people don't know, we're in Buenos Aires, Argentina. You probably know by now. But when I was here last February,
there's no Mate, so
there's no
idea.
Mate, there's no La Boca shirts, there's no Messi or Maradona photos in this. No, they're not.
They're like a statue to pray to now.
Yeah, that's right outside actually. But yeah, we are in Buenos Aires. When I was here last year, it just hit me like, hang on a minute, I need to take this a bit more seriously, because at the end of the day, if I'm not going to create the content, I'm going to consume it.
Yes.
But I'm still going to take a photo of my lunch and put it on my story. Why? What does that do? It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, but this is the thing. This is the other thing, like how you mentioned old friends or whatever. They all hate on that. Like you get so much hate for doing that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like, guys, I don't care about doing this. I'm not trying to show off to people by doing this stuff. It's just, this is part of the whole thing.
It's the game.
Whatever you're trying to do, if you're trying to sell something or you're trying to date people, you just need to do this stuff. Okay, you don't go and do it then and see what you miss out on. Like,
Sweet.
It is very important to do.
Yeah, you got to charge it to the game. And yeah, and then I was like, well, look, I'm going to take a photo of like this sandwich I make and put it on my story. Go, lunch today.
It's a good sandwich though, I must admit.
Great sandwich.
That looked perfect.
Like I'm going to do that. Or I could create a story with value, with a lot more intent that's actually going to move the needle forward. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to take photos and put it on our story and use Instagram. You know, some of them are using it as a gap filler. They got bored and took a random photo. Others are going to be using it as an intent for them to advance. It's like, we're all creating content at the end of the day. Every single person you know is. So I may as well do it with intent to develop, grow, and level up. Simple. Like, why not?
Yeah, 100%. Okay, so that kind of brings us on to the travel stuff, because a lot of your content is traveling, because that's just your life. Like, it's not like you're going to do that actively. So what do you think about Latin America? Why did you choose there? You said you were here last year as well.
Yeah, I'll be honest, like since a kid, I've just always been fantasized by Latinas.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is. It's just like, as soon as I was like started maturing and went through puberty, I guess, and started liking girls, I don't know, man. Actually, the truth of the matter is, if I think about it now, I just always had a crush on like Vanessa Hudgens and Selena Gomez. I always just was attracted so much. So as I got older, I was like, oh, they're Latina. And where did Latinas come from? Latin America. Okay, so I've got
man's pea brain thinks like, Latina's here. I mean, like Latina. Let me go.
Yeah, woman is attractive. She is Latina. Where do Latinas live?
No, but I think it's true. Like I see like a girl, like if she like rejected me in the past, but she was really hot, I'd be like, okay, but quickly, but where are you from?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I wonder where she's from. So I can go.
I'm from.
There must be more of them like her. Yeah.
I don't know, and that's just me spitballing, but I'm guessing that had something to do with it. It's always like the foreign lands from the UK as well. Like anything Latin American is so different to what we see, know, experience, go through, whatever. So it was always like the foreign, how was it? The forbidden fruit.
Okay.
Like, oh, what is it like over there? It's another world, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I had to do it. Obviously we already said started off in Mexico. Since then you've lived in Colombia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just stayed there for a few weeks. What do you think of Colombia to live as a well, actually, two questions. What do you think about Colombia now to live as a digital nomad, as an entrepreneur? And what did you think about it? How has it changed?
It's changed so much. That's a very good question, actually, because I'm very opinionated on this.
Oh, let's hear it.
So basically, when I first went, I went to Colombia before it was a place people would go. Everyone was still scared to go to Colombia when I first went.
Because of what? The reputation or?
Yeah, I mean, I think this was even like pre-Narcos coming out, so like no one even saw that side, because they then got, in fact I think it was just
starting.
It was just when it was happening, because people were starting to get fascinated with it. Before that, everyone just thought Colombia, drugs, cocaine, violence.
Right.
You didn't know, and I thought it was just a jungle. I didn't realize it'd be like cities and stuff.
Yeah.
But that was just me being younger. But anyway, so I went, and back then it was this amazing place. I'm not saying it's bad now.
How long ago are we talking?
When I was 26, so that'd be 7 years.
7 years.
7 years could be like 7, 8 years.
What year was that? 2018.
Yeah, or 17. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, yeah.
Whenever like Narcos came out. Anyway, I went, and like the people that were there, it was all Europeans mainly. The foreign people, sorry. So the foreign people, let's say like Medellin, the main city everyone goes to now, The foreigners were all European backpackers. So it was the most adventurous people from their countries. So they were very like, you know, respectful people,
Right.
cool people, like
Been around different cultures before.
yeah, they're
sure.
they're not like the bad tourists, let's say, okay? Once something becomes mainstream.
Sure.
They're the pioneers. So like it was really, really good. I met the best people just in that time as well. And the locals were like so welcoming, so warming. There was music everywhere. Like Colombia back then just had this energy, and it was fantastic. Okay, and this was specifically Medellin I'm talking about at the moment. So yeah, it was good. Then I went away. During COVID, I went back because I needed to take a break from Mexico. I was like, right, I want to get out. I want to
of course.
go somewhere else.
I know the feeling.
But I went straight into a lockdown, so I didn't end up actually doing very much. And then I was fed up. I basically just hustled for 2 months. It was quite good. I progressed a lot with work, but like,
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time to enjoy it. But I always had that FOMO because then people started going again to Colombia, and it really picked up. Everyone was going to Medellin. It became the place
So
for
what year are we talking now?
2021, 20...
Year after COVID-ish?
Two maybe, yeah,
Okay.
like around that time. Everyone was going again. In fact, even just before COVID, everyone was starting to go. It became more mainstream with the people I knew.
Okay.
But then when I went back this summer, this is where I've seen the biggest change into like a negative way.
Oh, really?
Like going back now, it's not just mainstream. It's literally just everyone. And I'm talking to the foreigners right now, like all the people coming, not all, but like there's a lot of people coming who are just pure passport bros, sex tourists. Like guys would be going on
tourists.
stag do's, bachelor parties from the American hoods, really, I'd say.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just like a different mindset. I'd even like talk to Colombian friends I have that are female, and they'd be like, yeah, people literally come outside our university and ask us how much. The universities are not in areas, not like condoning it, it would be in other areas, but like they're not in areas where there's like this, the bars and the party life. They're actually going out their way to go to these university areas.
That's crazy.
And they just think like it's pay per play, you know, they can just speak to
Anything.
normal girls and the Colombians are going to want them. And this is why I don't really feel sorry for other people getting drugged and stuff, because like, bro, like I've been many times, I've been all around the world, I've never had any issues.
Same.
The reason you're having a problem is because your ego is literally lying to you. You're having two big-breasted, big-assed, hot Latinas coming up to you in a bar in Colombia. Your ego is telling you, oh, I'm American or whatever. They love me. They all want me.
Yeah.
Bruh, Instagram changed that years ago.
Yep.
Like, girls can get access to anyone around the
Any
world.
guy now, you're not the shit anymore.
Your ego should be telling you, red flag, warning signs. That doesn't happen. They're either like a prostitute or probably both. They're wanting to spike me because this is happening all around the city. So like that always happens, and then people are coming in the groups complaining, blah blah blah.
I see that all
it's
the time
dangerous,
as
all
well.
this.
Yep.
But it wasn't dangerous for me. But yeah, I just didn't like that. I don't like being around those people. I don't like that vibe. And what is happening as a result of that is then the Colombian people aren't liking the
Gringos or the
gringos as
tourists.
much, which is
Yep.
kind of what we get as British people in Spain, in the south of Spain.
Yeah.
We have
Which I
a bad,
understand, by the way. I get it.
100%,
Yep.
yeah. We have a bad reputation. Theirs is probably even worse in Colombia because it's to do with
Drugs and alcohol.
drugs, sex, alcohol, and paedophilia as well now, to be
That's
honest. They're coming
awful.
for like underage girls. So for me, that kind of ruined it a bit. But like just also on the whole, like I don't actually really like living in Medellin as a city. I think it's amazing for a visit, but like when you actually live there long term, you're trapped. Remember, my biggest motivation in life is freedom. Like I can't really go anywhere. Like it's just one safe area. You've got to be on edge all the time.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Looking out for your phone. Yeah.
See, that's such a big difference between. I mean, I was only there. Admittedly, I was a party boy when I was in Medellin, but I was there for like 2-3 weeks and was in a hostel. But again, like we didn't do anything that I wasn't disrespectful or anything like that. We were just party guys. Like we were in a hostel. I've never been there as an adult who's trying to set up what we're doing now, working, living, growing, all that kind of stuff.
The network's great there, though. Like,
and this is what I've heard. I've heard the network is good. A lot of like online business guys, tons of salespeople out there. And I'm sure like cigar lounges and all that kind of stuff. And I always hear mixed reviews. Some people absolutely love it. Others, kind of like what you were saying, don't. The ones that don't, though, I do see a pattern. It's because they've had trouble there. And I'm thinking, look, I've never done any of that as a like where I am right now in life. But the one thing I would say, if you're going to go to Medellin and get in trouble, you would probably get in trouble in Mexico. You would
100%.
probably get in trouble in Buenos Aires, which would be pretty hard to do, but you probably would. You'd probably get in trouble in, I don't know, like any big Brazil as well. Because you come there with the mentality of, I can do whatever I want. I'm a gringo. I'm a hot commodity. I'm hot shit. Like, oh, they want me. I've got more money. Brother, I promise you, you probably don't have more money anymore.
Yeah.
You're not that rare.
I mean, they're wealthy. Like
people are wealthy.
They make
in
money
Buenos
now.
Aires,
especially these, like, if you're talking about those, like, sexy girls or whatever that you think
They
they're
got more
getting,
money
these
than you.
Latinas. I mean, they're on OnlyFans making, like, 30K a month.
Racks.
They got cash. All these reggaeton guys, like, there's money in Colombia. Like, that's another sort of egotistical delusion of the West. Like, I mean, these countries have...
Oh, mate. It's still so crazy to me that people don't get that. Because even when I'm like at home with my friends, I'll hear the odd comment like, "Careful, mate. When you go out there, they might try and sell your organs." I'm like,
but
brother, like if
bro,
you,
this is the funniest thing.
My organs don't mean anything to these people.
Type in like, maybe not Colombia because probably a lot, but like type in Argentina because everyone says Argentina, Buenos Aires is dangerous.
I always hear that. I'm like,
type in on YouTube.
Walk around London at night.
Yeah, we'll type on YouTube like robbery, Buenos Aires.
Yeah.
You're going to see one video from 7 years ago.
Type in
robbery London.
Yeah, you can't even walk down. London. See, this is the other thing as well. London genuinely is a dangerous place. Like
100%.
You walk around, even in actually, ironically, even in the nicer areas.
Probably more so in
Regent
the nicer
Street,
areas, yeah.
anything around there. Even the more like residential nicer areas as well. If you have a nice watch on, and I've heard this time and time again, you are going to get robbed. I've seen videos on it, but I also know first-hand stories. Like a good friend of mine, his boss left the office, and I think he was working in, I don't know, Liverpool Street-ish. Went home to a nice area in Richmond, just outside of London. Pretty residential, really, really beautiful. These two guys followed him on scooters.
Yeah.
And that's a long drive. I think it's like an hour and a half or something crazy. They followed him to his house because they saw he had a nice watch on. They're probably watching him time and time again. They robbed his watch and they robbed his house.
Okay, yeah.
That is a story that you would associate with Colombia or some kind of Latin thing, because it's like we don't have an understanding in the UK of what these places are like. Right now, Argentina, Colombia, definitely Mexico, not only are they generally speaking more safer, but they're just a richer way of living too. Like it's almost as if, and I don't know if you'd agree with me, but it's almost been turned on its head. Like,
it's flipping, yeah. It's almost like we've lost the empires, we've lost the importance, and now everyone else is on the come up, and they're going to surpass us type of thing.
Easily. We're backwards. We don't get it. But yeah, like, I don't think you and I would have trouble in Medellin or Colombia.
No, but this is what I would say. People used to ask me in the past, when I was doing the traveling a lot.
Yeah.
They'd be like, is, for example, Colombia dangerous? I'd be like, for me, Colombia's not dangerous, but it's, yes, genuinely it's dangerous for you because you're not streetwise or whatever. Like, the people when I was back in the day when it was probably more dangerous, were people from like Germany, Switzerland, the more chilled places, where they didn't have to be on edge. Like, I'm not from a bad area, but I'm from Glasgow still. Okay, so like you'd be in the town centre, you had to keep your wits about you. You've lived up in London. It's the same. It's like you just have that inherent like ability to be like, okay, this feels dodgy.
Pick up on it.
Yeah, you can tell people's like mannerisms well. You know who's going to kick off. You can tell by what they're wearing. You have to be able to profile, and that's another thing. Like people in the groups who post, girls that drugged them on Tinder, or whatever, and it's like, bro, I'm looking at that picture and I'm like, 100% that girl's going to drug you.
Yeah,
like,
but
how can you not profile that?
But it's anything, it's your fault. Like, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
How are you not seeing the red flag? Like, girl on social media hits me up, probably just like a standard looking like white guy, whatever. Oh, baby, like, I want to see, oh my God, she's in love with me. Yeah, she fancies me. Oh, I'm so like important. I'm this like rare Pokemon character as a green guy. No, you are the same guy. There's a million of you. Like, I'm not a rare guy here. You're not a rare guy here. We're just standard people. So it's normal to just live a normal life and we don't get in trouble because we don't live a lifestyle where we need like crazy hedonistic.
Yeah.
We just don't need that shit. We live a fairly regimented lifestyle. We have fun. We date great looking women. We have great friends, a great network. We get after it. We do well. But that's because we don't need to fuel ourselves with alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
If you come here, and Buenos Aires is probably the safest place I've lived in Latin America. But I promise you, if you come here with the mindset that you would have on sort of like Party Boy in Medellin or Mexico, and you do that in Buenos Aires, despite it being very safe from my experience, you will have trouble.
Yeah.
Because it isn't the
Or
place, it's the
before you
person.
become accustomed. Like if you're just fresh out the country, you've
Yeah.
not really traveled that much.
Yeah.
Like, not to scare you about traveling, it's like you should do that when you're younger. You should go around doing these things, because when you're a young kid and you're like wearing your backpacker stuff, living in hostels,
Yeah.
no one thinks you've got money in these countries. They're not.
You
They're
probably don't
profiling you.
either.
Yeah, like my thing when I traveled Latin America, I was wearing this like a blue plastic Casio watch that I bought. And I looked at it at the end. I was like, I never get any issues this whole time. And I was like, yeah, I probably look like I've got no money. Who's wearing a blue plastic Casio watch?
Facts.
It's like, that guy ain't got cash. Let's not rob him.
Yeah, it's not worth their time. Like, it's an investment of their time too. I met these boys in Medellin, and they're from Manchester. We were at the hostel, and this was about two-ish years ago. And they just arrived, and there was like a group of them, and they were wearing like, the Moncler and like the fucking. And I could just tell straight away, like, these guys are not going to have a good time here. And we were sitting upstairs, and the hostel I had was called Via Hera. It's really great, had a lovely time, whatever. They were in the hostel, and they were telling me how they've just arrived from Bogota. I was like, great, how was Bogota? They were like, shit. I was like, why was it shit? Oh, we got robbed.
Yeah.
He got his phone taken. He got his watch taken. I was like, shit. How long are you there for? 2 days. I already know what you guys are doing. You're fucking walking around flashing all your shit like you're Conor McGregor or something. So they thought the reasonable thing, the solution to them getting robbed, was to travel down to Medellin and apply the same way of thinking. So they were on the roof, and they were telling me, yes, we came to Medellin because we heard it's not as dangerous. I was like, yeah, probably as dangerous if you act like that, to be honest with you. But whatever, I was a bit naive then. I didn't really give them that much shit. They met this Irish guy who apparently lives in Medellin, and he knows all the areas. He's like, yeah, lads, I'll take you down to Centro tonight for some steak.
No way, they went to Centro.
Centro at night for steak. And I'd been in Medellin for a week, and I already knew that was a bad idea. And I was like, I'm not going. Are you boys sure you want to go? Because I've heard Centro at night is not good. And they were like, yeah, it's fine, all good, all good, all good. I saw them the next day in the hostel. The Irish guy had now moved out, and they were just in the foyer of the hostel, like, with all their bags. And I was like, lads, what are you doing? Like, where are you guys going? They're like, oh, we're leaving, mate. I'm like, what do you mean leaving? They're like, yeah, we're going to go. And I can't remember, but they left Colombia. They didn't even...
Yeah, okay.
They went to a different country. And I was like, what happened? They were like, yeah, last night we were at the restaurant, and a guy pulls up on a scooter and pulls a gun out and takes our phones. And I was like, what the fuck? That's crazy. And I was talking to them about the restaurant. They went to some shitty little steak restaurant, Centro, at night. They're both wearing their fake Rolexes, iPhones on the table, Moncler bags, fake Louis. Irish guy said it was really safe. And they showed me the CCTV footage because they recorded it on the other phone that wasn't taken from the restaurant. Bro, they're just phones out, wallets on the table, like at night, like blinged up, sitting there with cigars. I'm like, you're so fucking stupid. It's actually not their fault, the government or whoever. Like, fuck, it's awful that happened, but you're a fucking idiot. Why would you act and behave like that?
I mean, that is the people who would argue for somewhere like Dubai to living. Yeah, okay, that is the negative, but it's like, for me, there's the other benefits.
Yeah, don't poke the bear though.
Yeah,
like common sense.
Yeah,
like, you don't need to do that.
No, 100%. But if you want to make big money and you want to live like openly, it's going to be challenging. But I just feel like even in the West, that's becoming a thing now as well.
Yeah.
If you're making big money, you're getting profiled. People are like
London,
watching your movements.
Prime example. Like, you walk around London, nice watch. You work hard for your money. You try your best. You want to look good. You want to celebrate your wins. You know, and then you get robbed by some guy in a Bally in Regent Street or Knightsbridge, broad daylight. You get your phone nicked. Like, there's no win. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. I think the other thing is, now we're talking about, like the dating culture we touch on, etc. What is the in your opinion, the truth about passport bros? What do you think the truth is about passport bros? What does that even mean to you?
Well, I think obviously the view of passport bros is it's just guys. We probably consider passport bros because we go to different countries and we're single men and we date girls. But we ain't passport bros. I ain't a passport bro. Like, I don't
identify as that.
A passport bro suggests you have to go to another place to get girls because they're easier.
Right.
I lived in London. I didn't want anything to do with British girls. Like, it's just, I didn't like them. It's not my taste. Like, the values, even like the physical type. I dated mainly Italian girls and stuff when I lived in London.
Nice.
And a bit of everything. Like, I just went to this big city. There's girls from all over the world and I loved it. But yeah, I'm the same as you. Like, I just like women from certain countries.
Yep.
And that's the women I like. But these women, I'm not going for women that are, dirt poor and just want me for the money. These girls come from good families. They have money. They have options.
Mm-hmm.
They can meet guys with more money than me
Mm-hmm.
who are from their country. Like, it's nothing
Yeah.
to do with being a passport bro.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just,
true.
this is my
It's your taste.
taste.
It's what
It's
you're
what I like.
attracted to.
And there's so many good values. You know, they're more
Yeah,
feminine, more traditional as well. Just warmer. Like, this is why I like we're from different countries. But yeah, I would never identify as a passport bro, because it's like, it's not like I had issues getting British girls when I lived in the UK.
I
you
guess.
know? even still now, it's like, if I went back to the UK, I'd get way better girls than, I don't know, your average guy that's complaining you're a passport
You're
bro or whatever.
cultured, you're travelled, you're very sure
Yeah.
of yourself, like you've got confidence, 100%. Yeah, passport bros is such an interesting topic because I think it has a negative connotation. I think it implies that you go to these countries in Latin America because, like you say, you can't...
Or wherever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it
Poland.
doesn't have to... Yeah, it could be wherever, actually.
I think if you go to Asia, a lot of them are going for that reason. But like, there's still other guys that just like Asian girls.
Yeah. And you do it because you can't do that where you're from. And I think it's negative because then it's sort of not as extreme, but it sort of is tied into that whole like Medellin sort of sex tourist thing. I'm a single guy. I love dating women, particularly Latin women. I think, like you say, values, very feminine, very supportive, traditional, man's the man, woman's the woman, and I really like all of that. However, I'm not here to do that. Like, that's not my intention. A passport bro goes to these different countries because that's the mission. That's what we're doing with dating. As many women, as many women as we can. The poorer the better, because then it's easier for me. I'm like this savior, this superhero sort of thing. And I've been through that, to be honest. Like, I not that extreme, but I have had that experience. And now it's not even the case. I just want to date good girls, you know? I don't want to save anybody. I just want to meet girls that are great and, you know, have a good time with them. And maybe, like, take them to restaurants that they haven't been to before, or, like, show them different ways of life that they haven't experienced. But not because, like, I'm their Superman and, like, I need to save them from, like, their terrible upbringing. No way, come on. Just beautiful women in Latin America, and I enjoy it. And being able to work online and provide for them is cool, but it's not the intention.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, yeah, you couldn't call your two tall, blonde Canadian angels, Charley's Angels, we call them.
Charley's Angels.
Yeah,
they'll be watching this.
They're not hanging out with you because it's...
No. They might have had more money than me. That's
probably,
the thing.
yeah.
Nicole and Danny, miss you both very much.
Yeah.
So.
No, but it's true, man. Like, I think... And there's also nothing wrong with going to a country for women, as you were saying. Like, if you want to go and have fun, do that. Like, people kind of shame men, I think, sometimes. I've seen it where it's like, okay... you're only, you know, we talk about like how are the girls in X country. Like, that's just how guys are. That's what
we do it in our own country. We go, did you see that girl over there?
100%.
Blah, blah, blah. It's
but like
natural.
people will shame them, like, oh, is that the only thing you think about? It's like, how is that any different from you going to France for the shopping? Like, that's pure consumerism. Like, there's no culture in that. Like, there's no value to the world.
Yeah.
So like, there's nothing wrong with guys. In fact, it's even more culture you're getting amongst the people. You're like, you're meeting them. You're seeing actually what it's like. You're hearing about their stories. I mean, I think that's also how we know a lot about countries on a more in-depth level.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you date the girls and you talk to them and you find out the truth.
And you find out about the slang. You find out about the cool bars to go to, the different areas. It's not as like gringo-y or touristy. And you start actually feeling like, I'm not just paying rent to an Airbnb. I'm living in the city. And that is such a big game changer. I think when you have that shift in a Latin American country, it all just becomes very, very real. Like, now it would be so hard for me to just like pack up my bags and go back to the UK.
Yeah.
Because I've kind of now established like a lifestyle here. And I've got great friends, great network, great support system, amazing routines. The women are stunning. Like, they're very, very good looking. But culture's great here as well. Like, I enjoy the people of Argentina. I think they're really good people.
Yeah, very friendly. Very... I also just think as a setup, like, I mean, I did this YouTube video on it, and I didn't actually give any info. But like, there's just like, there's so many, if you work online, there's so many cafes you can work in.
Oh, it's great.
Like, I like how we live in Palermo. There's 2 areas of Palermo.
Yeah.
But it's like a mini metropolis.
Yeah.
In the city. You literally don't need to leave. Like, you'll see the same people, but it's like big. There's cafes you can go to, different restaurants, bars. That's the thing. Like, Colombia, Medellin was very like small, confined.
Really?
Playa's very small, but like here it's, you don't have to be, because that's the other thing. I was just in Madrid, and it's like there.
Oh yeah.
I really like Madrid. It's great, but the negative is kind of like other big cities where there's no hub. You know,
it's too spread out.
Yeah, all your friends will be living in different areas, and you'll always go and do social things in different areas. Here it's like we're literally in this bubble, this town, and you just you spend your time there, and it's a benefit. What do you think about young guys though? Like, because there's people argue that you should sacrifice your 20s, lock in, and just get rich, and then reap the rewards later. We've obviously done that differently, and it seems that we've had a lot of fun young. You know, you're 28 now, I'm 33, so I'm a bit past that 30 mark. But what do you think they should do in their 20s?
I think a young man, and this stems from mistakes I've made, and this isn't the only way. I think there's so many different ways to do it, but in my own opinion, let's say that your life as a young man is kind of like a video game. And just like the same way that we apply all our focus and attention to when we played Call of Duty or RuneScape or whatever it was back then, we care about the stats, the health, the skills, and the experience, and the survival mode, the instincts. Do the same thing in your 20s, because that's how you build your life as you get older and older. So should you lock in and fuck everything else off other than making money in your 20s? No.
Yeah.
Should that be one of the main things you kind of prioritize? Sure, I think it's important, but don't sacrifice your health, because without health you haven't got anything. And sure, like, ultimately I think it's really easy to say being single is easier to make more money because you just haven't got as much to think about, definitely. But if you meet a girl and she's great, don't cut it off, or don't like be completely against that because it might interfere with your, like, you're locking in. If she's the right girl, she'll help you do that and benefit you. The trouble is, though, that's a very rare thing to come by.
Yes.
Because she's also probably in her 20s and she's already probably figuring her shit out too. So as a young man, high income skill, focus on self-improvement, be surrounded by people who share the same desires as you. Travel, get out of your hometown, fuck it off, like, go and become someone amazing. And that's
the thing as well. I think that, you know, if there's not the opportunities at home, like I said, how I went traveling, I was on that plane thinking, what am I doing?
Right.
Like, if you're young, just buy that ticket.
Just do it.
There's nothing that bad can coming from backpacking around, just learning. You're gonna. No. You met a guy in a bar that now you're doing sales because
I took that shot, because Anthony Joshua got punched by Usyk in that moment, and we took a shot to celebrate the absolute madness of that right hook. That led me to starting a sales business. Yeah. Starting a sales company. So,
and it's so much easier to do when you're young.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the responsibilities.
You've got nothing to lose. And I think that's like the biggest thing now. It's now probably like you. I am more careful and calculated about the moves I make when it comes to investing, or it comes to like hanging around with this person, or because now I see everything as like an opportunity cost. In your 20s, you have nothing to fucking lose. Like, you're young, you probably don't have that much money, but you have time. Yeah. So you can try it and try and try and try and try. At 28, I've still got loads of time, but more calculated in how I spend the time. Yeah. So, yeah.
But there's also there's less expectations when you're in your early 20s. Like,
oh, for sure.
Like, there's a forgivingness that, okay, you don't need to be at this level. So, for example, if we go back to dating, like, if I... at 33, when I want to take a girl out, and it's like, I'm dirt broke. Well, there's something, in their opinion, something wrong there, because there's an expectation that by this time in your life you would have sorted things out. So it's like you have that kind of risk. It's harder to take massive risk if you want the other areas of your life to kind of be balanced and stable. But when I was 20, it was like, man, I regretted not, jumping around earlier. Like, I should have done the first year of university, dropped out.
Yeah.
Gone traveling.
I was going to ask you, what would you change?
That is definitely that, yeah. I know, would have been more patient. Like, I rushed into many things, like the whole dentistry to then surveying. It's like, you didn't know what you want to do? All right, let's just figure it out. I still meet people who are like late 20s, don't know what they want to do. It's like, so what? Chill. Like, go try some different things.
Try some shit.
Like, I'm very big on, I didn't try enough things. This whole period where I was getting the shiny object syndrome and jumping into different business models, there's no negative to that, in my opinion. It's like, you need to try all the ones you want to try
to work out what you like and don't
see what you like.
Sure.
Yeah.
Same with dating.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. But it's true. Like, I speak to some people who don't have a type, and I'm like, how can you not have a type? Like, you once you date enough women, you're like, I'm really liking this same thing that we're very compatible with. You develop a type. You're saying you like the Latin women. It's like, you have to
Yeah.
See, like, because you might think, okay, Eastern European women are good. I like them because they're very pretty. But then when you actually like, date them, maybe the personality isn't
aligned with like how you
yeah,
code. Yeah.
it's like, okay, this is not what I want.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I've got a lot of friends, and I'm just in that season of life. I think there's maybe 2 others in my close circle that are single. Everyone else has got partners and stuff, and some of them have been with their partners for a very, very, very long time. And it kind of makes me think, like, how do you know that's the right one if you've never had anything else?
I say this to girls.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
how, and not that it's all about dating, but the partner you choose is a big part of how you grow and develop and prosper. So how do you actually know that this person is actually the right one for you? If you haven't had a lot of experience or many comparisons, how do you know? You don't. So I think to a degree, we will settle. But there's also this weird kind of balancing act where it's like, and I'm going through it, where, yeah, you want to be young and you want to build a business and make money and date women and be around people and travel and all this amazing thing. But at some point, I want to settle down. And at some point, I want a family. So you got to be careful because you don't want to do what I'm doing now for too long before you get to, because you focus so much on it and then you're like in your 40s and you're like, maybe I can't be a dad now or maybe I don't want to. So it's like, I don't know, it's a weird balancing act. Do you kind of know what I mean?
I think I completely agree with you, and I think you have to have your own internal goals, like
Sure,
because it's the needle's always going to move.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
okay, what do I actually want? What's the time to like you say, settle? But it's not even settling. It's just
just
stop being so ambitious, like overly ambitious or whatever.
Yeah.
And because I see problems with people that maybe like girls who were, that pretty girl that hung around with the rich guys growing up, but you can watch it all like unfolding online. It's like now they have that caliber of guy they want, but it's like their timeline shifting more to the 30s and they're less desirable to that guy, or other guys at that level don't want them because they've lived that life. So it's like now they're kind of screwed. It's like you have to then lower your standard a bit, or be more smart when you're younger about how you're living your life and what you're doing. And I think it's the same for men, but I think we're getting close to time anyway. So I guess, is there any like final things you want to leave with, Charley?
Final things that I want to leave with. Learn how to be a deal closer. Learn sales, lock in, level up, become him, and fuck off things that are not going to serve you. Don't be a people pleaser as well, something we didn't really speak about, but do not be a people pleaser. Bet on yourself, take risks, be around great people, have a violent dedication to your own self-development, and just do the fucking thing, do the work and become better. And also date great, date amazing women.
Yeah.
But don't be a fucking douchebag, and don't be too red pill, because I don't think that works long term. But yeah, just be around good people.
All right.
What about you? I know you got some final smokes for me.
Well, mine would just be something like, do what you want to do.
Sure.
Like, don't care what other people say, whether that's family or friends. If you want to go do something, just go do it. It's never too late as well. Another thing, like, I don't care if you're 40, you're mid-30s. If I want to do something different tomorrow, I would just go and do it. Like,
get it done.
What is the point in life? It's not about making money, having a house and stuff. You just gotta like enjoy your life. So never too late. Go do what you want to do.
That's it, man.
All right.
Confidence, character, charisma, riz, biz, sales, deal closing, travel, women, level up, self-development, self-discipline. It's fucking there for the taking.
Hi, baby. All right. On that
Peace.
note, cheers.
Been real.